Hey, this is John Fernay, the co-host of the Maryland Crabs, and I am here today with a Maryland Crabcake for your listening pleasure. What's a crabcake? It's not quite a full episode, it's just a little snippet. Stay tuned and check it out. And make sure you check us out on themarylandcrabs.com. You can follow us on Twitter at MD Crabs Podcast, or find us on Facebook at the Maryland Crabs Podcast. And don't forget, subscribe, rate us, iTunes. Go there now. Hey, well, joining us now is legend Ronnie Milsap, who has been making hits for more than 40 years. And you can check out these numbers. He has 6 Grammys, 40 number one hits, more than 35 million albums sold, a post office box at the Grand Ole Opry just for him, and one very well-deserved seat in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Hey, Ronnie, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today in advance of your show here at the Ram's Head on stage in Annapolis. How are you?
Hey, it's great, John. It's great to be with you.
I'll tell you, it's, as I look past your history and the hits that you've had and everything else, I mean, there's one word that I think that describes you is probably versatile. Personally, you never let your blindness get in your way. Certainly, versatile describes your music. I mean, you've moved from R&B when you first started out into what I would call traditional country to contemporary pop. And that's sort of where I sort of came in to be a fan of yours with, Smokey Mountain Rain and Stranger in My House and some of those ones of the late 70s, I guess in early 80s. And then you jump right back into modern country, throw in some jazz and blues in the mix as well. You've played with Elvis, Eddie Rabbitt, Kenny Rogers, Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan. I mean, many artists get pigeonholed into a genre or a style of music. And how did you get so versatile? How do you think that happened?
I don't know. My taste has always been very versatile, John. I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, going to the North Carolina School for the Blind. I learned violin at 7 and piano at 8. And so I played many years of classical music. And, that I enjoyed that. But, when I got out on my own, I discovered I wanted to be a singer / piano man. And it's all worked out real well. But I still listen to everything. I mean, I may be listening to Beethoven or Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. My taste has that much variety.
If we look at your iPhone, it's going to be all, if your playlist will be all over the place, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and I've been fortunate, in country, they said that thing, crossover, was a dirty word, but it helps you expand your audience. And if I wanted to try a song and I wasn't going to be held back just because it wasn't country, it was pop or it was R&B, I can go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Love making records, and love playing shows on the road. Got a great band. Well, we have a lot of fun.
There you go. Well, at age 7, you said early at age 7, I mean, you were taking instrumental lessons, and that's when the teachers really began to see some talent in you. And I've just got to ask that you were going to college in pre-law, and you earned a full ride to Emory for law school, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you decided...
I did. I had this... my counselors in high school say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I said, "I want to be a professional musician." They said, No. We want you to do something better than that. So I took the occasion to fly down to Atlanta to a Ray Charles concert. And Ray's pilot took me back to the dressing room. I was sitting in the dressing room playing Ray's piano. When he walked in, I said, "Mr. Ray Charles, you are truly the high priest. And I love your records, got as many as I can find. I want to be a professional musician." He said, "Well, play me something." I played him a couple of songs I was working on, and he said, "You love it, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "Son, my advice to you would be get in the middle of it. Soak it up like a sponge every day. And if that's where your heart is, you want to be a professional musician, that's what you ought to do." I went back to Raleigh and I said, "Ray Charles says it's okay if I become a professional musician." Well, they still didn't like that. All of a sudden, by the time I got to Nashville, I'm playing these big corporate shows with my hero, Ray Charles. Ray and I both played our pianos, and we played back to back. So if he did something to knock me out, I hit him with my elbow, go, whoo! He'd do the same thing to me, and I was a long time friend with Ray Charles. He was somebody I talked with a lot. I was doing a TV show one time, and my record producer called him up and said, Ray, we want you to come and play on Ronnie's TV special. What will you charge us to come? And he said, all I want is 5 minutes alone with Ronald.
Oh, my gosh.
That's all he wanted. But I love what I do, John. It is so much fun, and we keep on doing it until God calls me home, I guess.
Well, I tell you, you talk about love and passion, and anymore it seems that we live in a world of like disposable marriages. And when you were 22, you married your wife, Joyce.
Yeah.
And she took a chance on the guy who gave up a law career to be a singer and a piano player. And I understand she's just a really strong influence in your life.
Well, she has. She's been very helpful. And we lived in Atlanta. I'd played a lot of shows around Atlanta. And then this producer in Memphis named Chip Smallman said, I want you to move to Memphis. I said, well, I don't have a job up there. He said, we'll find you a job, and you can play all these sessions with me down at American Studios. And so we moved to Memphis, and she found us a really good place to live, a nice townhouse. And I was playing at this nightclub called TJ's. Man, we pack them in there every night. People come from I know John Fogerty, every time he was in town, he'd come by. I'd get to the bottom of the stairs. They said, look, John Fogerty's over here. He wants to have a drink with you. Let's do it. So I go talk to him, and, the whole thing happened. I played as much in Memphis as I could, and I got to play on some sessions with Elvis when Felton Jarvis came down to Memphis with Elvis, and had those sessions with Chip Smallman producing those basically at American Studios. A good friend of mine that lived next door named Mark James wrote that big song Suspicious Minds, and I got to play on Kentucky Rain, the big Eddie Rabbitt song.
Right.
And that was great. I got to sit and talk with Elvis one night. He wanted to book TJ's to have his New Year's Eve party. I said, Elvis, I know you're probably not going to like this, but I know all your records. Any possibility you'd like to come up and sing a song tonight? He said, Ronnie, I would, but I'd rather just sit here with my friends and enjoy New Year's Eve. I said, I understand that. But sitting and talking to him, I said, man, you were the voice of my generation. And to get to sit here and talk with you and know what all you've done in the studios and all the movies you've done, the things you've had to learn to do this career, I'll never see anybody like Elvis again, ever.
Fantastic.
Colonel Tom Parker, managing him, he was busy all the time.
Well, you also started...
But I do have this new album come out. You kind of touched it on it a minute ago. It is a group of duets.
Yep.
I recorded Stranger in My House with Luke Bryan. I recorded Lost in the 50s Tonight with Little Big Town. And Smokey Mountain Rain with Dolly Parton. Man, she is so good on that.
That's fantastic.
That record's going to be coming out real soon here, maybe in another week or two.
Well, coming into your Ram's Head show, and I have to laugh. You said in 2014, you said you were going out on your final concert tour. So I'm not quite sure whether this is a really, really long tour or whether you're taking a play from the Eagles who've toured again and again and again on their final tour or not. But I'm so glad that you are out on the road.
I'm still going. I think their title for 2019 is the Ronnie Milsap Show, No End in Sight.
That is fantastic.
So that's the way we're going to play it.
Well, what can we expect at your show on the 20th here when you come to Annapolis at the Ram's Head on stage?
Well, we've got these 40 number one songs that I promise you, even if we condense them in medleys, we get to every single song that went number one. That's a lot of material to cover. That this band that works with me, they are really great. Great musicians, and love to be around those guys. When we take the field, we always win.
How long have you been playing with this particular band?
Oh, most of these members of the band, some of them have been here for 30-some years.
That's
so
impressive.
They know all of my songs.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times I will ask the audience, what do you folks want to hear? And they may call some obscure song out, but the band knows it. And the crowd will tell you what they want to hear. And you strike a real electricity with the crowd. I get excited. They make me sing better than I normally might have.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one final question. Of all the songs that you have written, recorded, collaborated on, maybe you didn't release them, maybe you did, what song holds the most meaning to you?
Well, it's a strange thing, because in 1976, I'd gotten this cassette of a song written by Archie Jordan, and my wife kept saying, why do you keep listening to that thing? He sounds terrible. Well, he was not a great singer, but I love the song. When I got back here in town after the tour, I got in the living room at the piano and worked up an arrangement and played it for her, and she said, God, that doesn't he sound like the same song? That's my first million-seller single called Almost Like a Song.
That's fantastic.
That was a great one. My producer, Tom Collins, came over, and he called the songwriter, Archie Jordan, and said, Archie, you're about to have a number one record, man. And we did. We had that together.
That is fantastic. I'll tell you what, Ronnie, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I'm going to let you go.
It's my pleasure, John. Thank you so much. If you ever come to where I'm playing, tap me on the shoulder so I can meet you in person.
I absolutely will. I will be there on Friday at Ram's Head on Stage. It's July 20th.
Thank you, buddy.
All righty. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
This has been the Maryland Crabs podcast with Tim Hamilton and John Fernay. Sure to follow them in all the regular places, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and online at themarylandcrabs.com. Take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Now, get the hell out of my kitchen. Seriously, go!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.